Hey, welcome to the Richard Sherman Podcast, brought to you by The Volume. I appreciate you joining us. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos. We'll love to see you every week.
This stuff is coming down to the wire drastically, and we saw it in the NFC South. We've been talking smack about this division all season long, and we had a barn burner down in Tampa, Rich. Your thoughts on these Buccaneers?
Well, it looked like Tom Brady finally understood that, hey, sometimes you can just throw it up to Mike Evans over and over and over again, and it will work. And throughout the season, people were wondering what happened because they had such a great rapport and a great rhythm into last season going into the playoffs, made some huge plays. And this year, kind of, Mike was getting his yards, but there weren't the explosive plays that you're used to. And then this game, it was like, hey, you got nothing to lose. Toss it up to him over and over and over. I mean, at some point, as the corner, you got to just start bail and say, hey, come on now. You'll catch everything but a go ball today. But, man, it was great to see Tom Brady, vintage Tom Brady, right when he needs it. He got it.
He sure did. 432 yards and capped it off with a rushing TD, too. And, Rich, to your point, I mean, this is the Mike Evans of the last several years, right? I mean, I thought I was watching replays. Every time I looked up, he was catching a goal ball down the right sideline. And I was like, oh, that's another touchdown. So these are the days you're used to seeing with Mike Evans. And now you got Tom Brady entering, the offseason on a little bit of a hot streak here. Can Tampa Bay realistically make any noise in the playoffs?
Well, if Mike Evans is playing like that, he's unstoppable. I mean, they're going to need to double him. They're going to need to back up. That'll open up the run game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if they keep singling him and playing 8-man in a box football, then, I mean, Mike, he might not have 207 like he had this game, but he's going to have a day. And it was a had-to-have-it game. This was for all the marbles, and it was cool to see them come back because they were down early. They were down 14-0. A team can quit. A team can give up and say, hey, this isn't our day. This isn't our year. And Tom Brady doesn't have any quit in him. And so it was great. It was great to see that from the team. Great game for Mike.
Well, Rich, let's talk about a team that might be going to the playoffs. Your hometown, Seattle Seahawks. They get it done against Mike White, your homeboy. I know you love you some Mike White. But the Seahawks just came out the gates, dominated. Gave it to our boy K9. Runs right down the field, 60-yard gasher right on the first possession, and the Seahawks never looked back. This team, I didn't believe in them a week ago. I didn't believe in them 2 weeks ago. But now they're looking like a team that maybe they get hot at the right time. Rich, your thought on the Seattle Seahawks?
I mean, the thing that's really exciting for that team, Mike White struggled mightily, looked uncomfortable the entire game, just didn't look like the quarterback he had looked like against Buffalo in the games he started against Chicago. But that's the league. Every week, it's a week-by-week league. And if the great ones show up week after week after week after week after week. And it was unfortunate that Mike didn't play well. 2 interceptions, and I mean 2 interceptions that just one was really behind. Garrett Wilson was open. He threw it way behind him. Great play by Mike Jackson. Then Quandre Diggs made a heck of a play, cutting off one of the routes. But those are mistakes you can't make. But on the flip side, Geno played a really solid game, as always. Pro Bowl season, he did exactly what they needed to do. They revived the running game with Kenneth Walker III, 133 yards on 23 carries. And DJ Dallas also did some damage in the pass game, had a career high in total yards. That was huge. Darrell Taylor, 2.5 sacks. His best game as a pro, was all over the place. Huge sack at the end of the game to pretty much nip it in the bud. Quentin Jefferson, veteran, and they're playing better against the run. They didn't. I don't think they gave up a 100-yard rusher today, which is huge. You need that kind of confidence, and it just seems like they're excited to play. But the Geno Smith revenge tour. He's played 3 teams, 3 of his former teams. He's 3-0. It's a good year for you, baby.
He's done. He is certainly, I mean, I know you were higher on him than most were, but he's certainly revitalized his career. What I love about this more than anything, though, Rich, is that you have to be a Detroit Lions fan going into next week because the Detroit Lions must win in order for Seattle to have a shot at getting into the playoffs. Let's keep it in the division. We saw a great game, a great finish, and certainly not a game I expected to be close at all. But the San Francisco 49ers pull off a very close, tight win in overtime against the Las Vegas Raiders. Your thoughts on this game?
Well, it's concerning for the 49ers defense, because like we've been talking about, they got healthier. Jarrett Stidham is his first start of his career. And unless he's coming out here developing into Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady or Drew Brees or one of the all-time greats, this is going to be cause for concern because they were running beaters. They were finding holes in the San Francisco 49ers defense. They were still solid against the run. But, every team doesn't have a Devontae Adams. He had 7 for 153. Majority of it came against Diamador Lenore, who just, when you're young and you're dealing with the best receiver in football, you're going to struggle. You're going to learn throughout the game why he's the best receiver in football. He just set a franchise record for receptions, but the 49ers are on a 9-game win streak. The offense put up 37 points with Brock Purdy, had to have it drive at the end of the football game. Ice in his veins, drove it all the way down the field. Unfortunately, Robbie Gould, which is the conversation, you can't miss that one, regulation. Thank goodness. Tayshaun Gibson gives him another opportunity, on a pass that was forced to be errant because of Nicholas. John Bosa, huge play in overtime right when the team needed, just freaking destroys the tackle into the quarterback, can't step into the throw, lobs up a gimme for Tayshaun Gibson. He returns it to the 7. The rest is history. Kick the field goal. Let's go home. And, CMC. They've lost one game since CMC has been traded for, and that was against the Kansas City Chiefs he was a couple days in, so some people count it, some people don't. But since then, they have not lost a game, and he's been really efficient. Brandon Ayuk plays his best game, 9 receptions for 101 and a tug. And guess what, Mitchell? Next week, Tyshawn comes back. Deebo Samuel is back in the fold next week. And everybody's like, oh, my God, you forgot about Deebo. You're going to hear the music. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Kind of like Joel's. But they're going to show up, and it's going to be interessante.
I like the 49ers, Rich. I think they needed a game like this. It's a gut check. Everyone's been pumping up their tires, talking about how great this defense is. We've certainly been doing it for weeks on this podcast. They deserved every bit of it, but maybe this was a perfect mismatch for them. You got a perfect complement of Josh Jacobs and Devontae Adams, who, by the way, Devontae Adams set a franchise record, toppled Tim Brown in his first season there. So kudos to him. And in this game, I think a huge story here as well. The 49ers are now the 2nd seed. They're going to be playing at home more, and they're not going to have to deal with going to Minnesota. This is a big, big win for them on the road against a team, obviously, in the Raiders that wanted to win. And
it's even bigger because the Philadelphia Eagles are struggling right now.